Good morning. We're going to continue on and actually start our first target for this unit, which is graphing linear equations in slope-intercept form. Most of you have seen slope-intercept form before. The y equals mx plus b should look fairly familiar. In this, x is your input, y is your output. M is actually going to be a number that represents your slope. And b is going to be a number that represents your y-intercept. If you need a second, go ahead and hit pause to fill all those in. I'm going to go back and talk about slope. If slope is positive, make sure your line increases or rises. If it's negative, make sure it falls or decreases. Now, I changed this up a little bit from what's in your packet, but your first step is to identify the y-intercept, which is your b, which is your beginning point that you're going to put on the y-axis. Okay, so up and down. So it's telling you what floor you're going to start on. And then you're going to identify the slope m, and that tells you how to move from your beginning point using rise over run. So if m is positive, you're going to go up and to the right. If it's negative, you're going to go down and to the right. Notice in both of those, I'm going to the right. The sign only affects if I'm going up or down. There are special cases there, and I'll show this to you. After that, continue plotting new points using the slope, and then you're going to connect all of the points using a straight line. Okay, so here we go. We are going to identify our information in this problem. The y-intercept is always the number that does not have the x with it. Make sure you pay attention to the sign. Okay, so the y-intercept is at 3, and I'm actually going to plot that right away. It tells me what floor I'm starting on. So I'm starting on 3, apparently in purple. And then my slope is always the one that's in front of my x. Okay, so always the one that's attached to the x. Watch your sign there. And then a lot of times it's a fraction. If it's not a fraction, you can make it a fraction by putting a 1 in the denominator. Okay, so for my slope, this is negative, so it's telling me I'm going down 2 and right 5. Okay, so from my beginning point here, I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, and right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do it again. From this point, I'm going to go down 2 and right 5. And put another point. So 3 points is enough. One thing you could do is if you couldn't get those 3 points there, you can switch this. You could go up 2, but you also have to switch this and go left 5. So I'm going backwards. So up 2, left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's another way you can get a point. I'm going to go ahead and draw your line in. Remember, a line should have arrows at both sides to show it goes on forever. And we're there. I'm going to go ahead and add my arrows to both sides. And we're good. Okay, so there's your line. This way is a lot faster than making a table. Let's do the next one. Okay, in this, your y-intercept is going to be negative 2. It is the number that does not have the x attached to it. Apologize. The slope is the number that is attached to the x. So we have 3/4. It is positive, so it's telling us we're going up 3. Not sure what happened there, sorry. And right 4. Okay, so starting at negative 2, the y-intercept tells us what floor to start on. And then we are going to move from there. So slope tells us to go up 3 and over 4. I can't talk while I'm counting. And up 3 and over 4. And we should be good there. So we can go ahead and draw a line. I always like to go backwards. I try to get as many points as possible, but you definitely don't have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. And I will extend that line and put my arrows on the end. And that's it. Okay, let's do one more. Notice that there is nothing in front of my x there, so I'm going to squeeze a 1 in. Y-intercept is always the number that is not attached to the x, so that's telling us we are starting on the negative 6th floor, so down 6. Okay, beginning point. And then our slope is 1, and actually I like to have a fraction, so I'm going to make it 1 over 1, because I have to have a direction both up and down and left and right, so I'm going to go up 1, right 1. Go ahead and graph that. So up 1, right 1 looks a lot like that, and I can keep going on forever. This is one of the easiest lines to graph because I have so many points that fit. Go ahead and draw my line. Is it okay that I'm off the graph? Actually, it's great that I'm off the graph because later on we're going to make sure our lines go that far. We're good there. Okay. Last one. In its prime, movie pass costs $5 to join and $10 per month. This is modeled by the equation y equals 10x plus 5. Graph the equation below and answer the following questions. Include your labels on your graph. Okay, so we're going to look at this B and M. So I'm going to start at 5. And the slope is telling me to go up 10 over 1. So up 10 over 1. Up 10 over 1, up 10 over 1. And we have a line that starts here and goes on forever. Now this one I'm not going to put arrows on both ends because I can't have a negative number for the situation. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill in our labels. We're talking about the number of months. So this is my number of months here. And this is my total cost. Okay. The y-intercept is 5, and that is the initial cost to join. The slope is 10, and that is your total cost increases by $10 a month, or for each month, you pay $10. Okay, and then 6 months of service. We can't see it on the graph, but we could definitely plug it in. They told us the equation was this. So if I plugged in 6, that would be $65. Okay. You have what you need. Go ahead and practice. Let us know if you need help. Have a great day.